Before we get started, we do have a few prerequisites we need to make sure we take care of. Of course, you need an Azure account, right? You need to be able to have access and permissions to create resources in the Azure account to be able to do this. You need a license key for TimeXtender, and you need user portal access. If you don't have user portal access, you can reach out to your TimeXtender representative, and we can go ahead and make sure you can get access to that. But that's where you're going to have all of your license keys and ODX secrets that we're going to use in just a minute here. So these are the steps we're going to cover today. First of all, we're going to sign into the Azure portal. We're going to deploy the TimeXtender app server marketplace template from the Azure marketplace. We're going to go into the TimeXtender user portal where we're going to obtain our ODX secret and license key. We're going to connect to the virtual machine using RDP, and then we're going to download and install the latest version of TimeXtender onto that virtual machine. Again, as I mentioned, all of the steps you can follow along online here. If you go to this link here, create a TimeXtender application server, and all these links are being posted here in the chat window if you guys want to follow along. This, again, another KB article here in our support site. And again, all the steps are covered in here, so feel free to follow along there as well. Okay, on to the first step. First things first, we need to get signed into the Azure portal. So I'm just going to go to portal.azure.com, and we are going to, in the search bar here, if you type into the search bar, you can simply type in TimeXtender application server, and this should pop up. You see that on the right here under marketplace, we have TimeXtender application server. The nice thing about this global search here in Azure is it's not only going to search for all of your personal resources, it's going to search for a lot of resources you may not have yet that maybe you want to add, but it's also going to search the marketplace for third-party resources as well. So because we have our templates available in the marketplace, you can just search directly in the Azure portal here and have those available. So you go ahead and click TimeXtender application server. This is going to bring you to the front page with some descriptions here. And then when you're ready, you just go ahead and click create. So creating this marketplace template is going to create two resources for us. The first resource, of course, is the Azure VM, the virtual machine. And then the second resource is a SQL server, an Azure SQL server. So that resource itself, standalone, doesn't actually cost any money. It's really just kind of a placeholder. It gives you a server name that we're going to go ahead and use a little bit later for creating our project repository. And you can also use that same SQL server for your MDW database as well. So first things first, what you want to do is you want to decide on your subscription. So here I'm using my CSS subscription that I have here, and then you can pick or create a resource group. I'm going to go ahead and create a resource group here. I'm going to call this TX Tuesdays 1. All right, click OK. And the next thing is you want to assign a region. Now, regions are important in Azure because this is where everything is stored in a data center, right? So Azure has data centers all over the world, and choosing your region is choosing the data center where all of these resources are going to get created and stored initially. Oftentimes they'll be replicated across many regions. However, initially they do get created in one. And it's good to try to keep all of your resources, if they're going to be talking to one another, try to do your best to keep all of your resources in the same region. This is going to speed up processing times. If you're moving data across a continent, for example, that's obviously going to take a little bit longer than moving data across a single data center. So for mine, I'm going to go ahead and pick West US 2 because I am on the West Coast. And then we just pick a name for our virtual machine. I'm just going to use the default here. The next is to put in some settings for our SQL server. I do have a username and password already picked out here. So we'll just put in there my username. And then I will get my password and paste that in there. Okay, good. You can enable advanced threat protection. It's not required. And then allow Azure services to access this server. You want to select yes for this. Of course, we're going to be communicating from our VM into this Azure SQL Server, so we'll want to allow that access. Next step is the settings for our virtual machine. Again, just putting in my password and username here. I'm just going to use the same exact username. And these are the usernames, the username and password you're going to use to sign into that virtual machine the very first time. From then, you can obviously get it hooked up to Azure Active Directory. You can create your own usernames and manage those from within the VM. But the very first time, you'll need to use this virtual machine username and password. Now, in terms of the size, we do have a standard recommended size available for you here as part of the template. I think this is a great place to start. This is a relatively inexpensive machine here, has enough power to run, a small data warehouse. So it's a great place to start. If you need to scale up from there, you can absolutely do so. Here are just some initial placeholders here for the storage account for diagnostics, public IP address, and then the DNS prefix. So I'm just going to leave these as default. And the next step is to review and create. It's going to do some validation here, walking through the steps, making sure everything's good, and then I can click create. All right. So we've gone through the process of deploying our virtual machine in Azure. This is going to take just a couple minutes. While this is running and creating these various different resources, what we can do is we can log in to the user portal, and we can get our ODX secret and license. So we'll just open a new tab here, and you can type in portal.timextender.com. And from here, you can log into your account. As you'll see, I'm actually already logged in. But what you'll find here is, some company information. We can go to basic info. We can see here company information. Oftentimes, you can find your partner's name in here if you need any support. But what we want to do is we want to get our license information. So we can click this drop down here under My Company and click Licenses. So here I will find my TimeXtender license. This is just a temporary license I created for this demo. You can see it expires in just a few days here. And I can copy this license, and I'm going to go ahead and just put this in a notepad right here on the side so I have that available. We will use this in an upcoming video where we're going to be configuring TimeXtender in this virtual machine. So now that I have my license key, the next piece that I need is my ODX secret. So here I can click the drop down under ODX, click on repositories, and then I have my client secret for my repository here. So you just click to copy that secret. And again, I'm just going to put this over on the side, my secret. So I can have that later. Great. So I got my ODX secret and my TimeXtender license. Step number 3 is complete. The next step is to connect to the virtual machine using RDP. So let's go back to the Azure portal and let's see how our deployment is going along. Okay, so it's still running, but it usually takes just a few minutes here, few more minutes to get this created. So it looks like we did have a question come in into the chat. Can I see all of my customers, clients, secrets in one portal, or do I have multiple logins? That's a great question. So you cannot see, if you're a partner and you're managing customers through the portal here, you cannot see, you know what, that's an interesting question. You may be able to see them. If you go into customers, I actually don't have that option here because this version of my account doesn't have any customers, but you should see an option up here, customers. And if you click on there, you should see their ODX secret on their company page. So you should be able to see that initially. If not, that likely means you may need to sign in as a customer, get a user account created under that customer company, sign in as the customer, and then you can go in here. But you can. Okay, so I see you posted that there. I appreciate that. I know I can, but obviously I have a little bit elevated rights. But it seems like, yeah, other partners can as well. So that's good to know. You can get access to the secret there. All right, so it looks like our deployment is complete in Azure. So the virtual machine has been created. I'm going to click Go to Resource Group. So this is the resource group. As you remember, I created that name TX Tuesdays 1. It just added all of my different resources that I just created here inside that resource group. Now, as I mentioned, it is going to create a few different items, 2 items specifically that are important to us, that SQL Server and the virtual machine. All of these other pieces here, the network security group, public IP address, network interface, disk and storage account, and virtual network, these are essentially artifacts of the virtual machine. In order for the virtual machine to function and communicate with the outside world, we're going to need a public IP address, a network interface, these different pieces. So these were created as essentially as prerequisites for the virtual machine or the application server. Awesome. So we can click on TX App Server here and just click Connect. So there's a number of ways to get connected to this app server. First of all, you want to make sure that it is running. We can see the status here is running. So the app server, the virtual machine is online and running. As I mentioned, there's a couple different ways you can sign in. You can just open RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, on your computer, and you can put in this DNS name as the IP address or computer name. And then you can put in that username and password that we created during the initial creation steps here and log in that way. Alternatively, you can just click this connect button and click on RDP, and you can download an RDP file. So this is just going to download an RDP file with that DNS name or address already included in my settings. So I can go ahead and open this file, which will bring a prompt here. Okay, do you trust this? I'm going to say, yes, I trust this. Don't ask me again. Go ahead and connect. And then the next thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you to sign in. So it's initially going to attempt to use my local credentials to sign into this VM. This is Windows 10. I don't want to use my local credentials because my local credentials aren't stored in that VM yet. What I need to do is click on more choices and use a different account. And then I can paste in the username and password I created when I initially created this virtual machine. So I'm going to copy that username and password that I created earlier. Username and then my password. And I'll just say, remember me, and click OK. So now it is, keeps jumping over to my other screen. Again, it's going to ask to trust the certificate. Do you want to trust the certificate? I know it's coming directly from Azure. I created it. So yes, I'm going to say, don't ask me again, and go ahead and trust the certificate. So now it's going to continue connecting and move it over again. If I can get this to resize for me. Okay, good. So now I'm logging into the virtual machine. It is the first time anyone's logged in, so it's setting up my user account, my desktop, things like that. And that takes just a few seconds here. So we can see that on the VM does come pre-installed. The nice thing about using the template is that it does come pre-installed, as I mentioned, with all of the prerequisites and with TimeXtender. The thing is of course, we're coming out with improvements and additional functionality on TimeXtender all the time. So every few weeks, you'll see new releases coming out. And of course, being this as this is a new application server, we want to install the latest version of TimeXtender to get all the latest fixes and security enhancements available to us. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the TimeXtender support site and download the latest version. I'm going to go ahead and just initially delete these shortcuts from the desktop. We're going to open Microsoft Edge here and okay, go through our first time user prompts. Let's see if this will sign me in. Okay, I don't care. All right, so open a new tab here and we're going to go to support.timextender.com. And of course, this is where you can get all of the knowledge base articles that I've been mentioning. You can see that reference architecture is right here, as well as downloading the latest version of the software. So just go to support.timextender.com. And right at the top here, you can see under Getting Started, download TimeXtender. So this is going to go to the page where we always keep this up to date with the latest version. So you'll be able to find the downloads for the latest version right here. So currently we're on 20.10.14. So I'm going to click go ahead and download the ODX server. And I also want to download TimeXtender. Okay, scanning for viruses. I'm going to double click to open the file. And then from within the zip file, you can actually just double click setup and it'll run directly from there. You don't need to unzip it first. You can just run it right from there. All right, so this is going to walk me through the initial installation steps for the ODX. Click next, I'll accept, and I'll go ahead and click complete. You'll notice for the ODX, it's really just one option here. So typical, custom, and complete all really do the same thing because we only have one option in the ODX portion. Click next, and we will go ahead and click install. This is going to install the latest version of the ODX service. I'm not going to launch the ODX server configuration. We're going to go ahead and you do the configuration during the next session. I'll just click finish. I will go ahead and close this one, and I'll open TimeXtender and set up TimeXtender as well. Luckily, the installation process really only takes a few seconds for TimeXtender. Here you do have some options. You can go to custom and choose what you want. I'm going to go ahead and just include everything. Here, this is the scheduler service and the server service. And I'll click install. So that'll get TimeXtender installed. And now we'll have the latest version of TimeXtender up and running on the server. Great. So I believe that completes all of the different steps that we had here. Yep, connect via RDP and download and install the latest version of TimeXtender. All right, so that's how to create an application server in Azure. I hope you all enjoyed that.